So last night about 7:30 p.m. I came out to check on the dog, and I think she was in labor. Couldn't hardly get up, and she was whimpering and licking her belly. And I came back out at 9:30, and she still hadn't had her puppies, so I'm going to check on her now. It's early in the morning. Oh, look at you. Look at you. All right, let's look. Let's look. What do you have? Do you have anything? Anything? No puppies. No puppies. No puppies. No puppies. Well, you're keeping us all in suspense, girl. So we didn't get any puppies this morning, but we got something even better. We got baby snakes. So take a look at this. I just pulled these out of the incubator, and these are actually my first ever baby snakes. I've been doing this for a few years, and you can see on these guys, they kind of slit open the eggs when they start coming out. What was funny is earlier this morning I had some little heads sticking out, and of course now they're a little bit shy for the camera. So I saw one, it looked like it was a coral glow, and one looked like a normal. So you can see just little tiny slits in some of these. So if they have little tiny slits, basically what it is, it's their egg tooth cutting away the shell. And it looks like this one doesn't quite have a oh, look, here's one coming out. Yeah, at this point some people cut them. You can actually take a little scissors and cut them. So basically this pairing was a pastel pinstripe number 4 with the coral glow. So the coral glow, let me see, it's actually this one right here. Ha! And I've been trying something a little bit different. So instead of my coconut husk, I kind of switched over to like a paper type bedding, and I've been using these sphagnum moss balls for humidity just to kind of try it out. It looks like it kind of made a mess. But the coral glow, this is my male coral glow. That was the father of this clutch. And he is 100% het pied. So I can show you what a pied is here in a minute, but you really can't tell he's het pied unless you actually know what the original pairing was to produce them. And usually pieds have like track marks down the belly, like on a normal het pied, but you can't really see it on this guy. And this is a co-dominant mutation, so in this pairing approximately 50% would be coral glows. So I can show you what a normal looks like, I guess. We should start from there. If you don't really know what a normal looks like. So this is like no genes at all. This is basically just a normal looking ball python. I actually got this girl for free. She was one of my first snakes. And she is gravid and should lay eggs this year, which is interesting. And normals even change. I have a normal up here that's a little bit, she's a little bit browner, I guess. Not as dark. So I might get some normals out of the pairing. And then here's a pied. So pieds have splotches of white in them. And if you breed a pied with a normal, basically you get all normal looking snakes that carry the pied genes. And you have to actually cross a pied with a pied, het pied with a het pied, so if they get 2 copies of the genes, then you get the visual pied. So half the babies will be het pied, and we won't really know which ones are which. There's a little nose sticking out. That's pretty funny. And then the female was a pastel pinstripe. And this one was actually number 4, if I can find her. Pastel pinstripe, number 4. So she laid eggs back on the 15th of March. And, she peed. Of course, everyone pees right after they eat. Yeah, I didn't clean these tubs before this video, so I need to go through and clean some of these tubs. But she has the pastel gene and the pinstripe gene, which kind of turns her yellow and breaks up the pattern. So this is a pastel right here. So pastel is a little bit more yellow than a normal. So she has that gene, and then she also has the pinstripe gene. I have just a pinstripe female right here. She should lay eggs too. She's really gravid, full of eggs. So it's interesting, you mix this with the pastel, and it kind of breaks up the pattern on the pastel pinstripe. So we should get some pastels, some pinstripes, some coral glows. Half of them will be het pied. You won't really know which one's which. But it's a pretty interesting cross. And actually, this was a 10 egg clutch, so we have 5 and 5. And I think instead of cutting these eggs, I'll just wait until tomorrow and see what comes out. And we can take a look at them a little bit better. But, yeah, I wish they were sticking their heads out a little bit more. So I actually have one more clutch that was laid the day after this, and I'll show you what that one is. Alright guys, so here's the other clutch. It was a 4 egg clutch, and this one was a scaleless head crossed with a jungle woma spider. And it looks like, with these little marks, it looks like I have 2 eggs that are going to hatch. I don't think this one will hatch. And this one doesn't have any slits in it, so I'm not sure if that one's going to go or not. But, so the pairing on that one was actually this girl. And she is a jungle woma spider. So the spider gene is basically just a different pattern mutation. And the jungle woma is kind of a lightener and an enhancer. And actually, you mix the jungle woma and the spider, it reduces the spider even more. And they call this a ridgeback, so it's basically reducing the spider pattern even more. And it kind of gives a ridge pattern on the back. So that's the female. She actually laid 7 eggs, and 3 were egg bound, and they molded right away. So that was kind of a bummer. So out of 7, it looks like I'm only getting 2. And then the male is just a normal scaleless head. These guys are kind of interesting. So the scaleless head just has a few scales missing from his head. Just a normal ball python with a few scales missing. And if you breed 2 of them together, you actually get a totally scaleless ball python. It's kind of one of the newest morphs on the market. And just a few years ago, these were selling for like $45,000 a snake. It was ridiculous. And the prices really come down, so I was able to get into the project. I felt like I was fortunate to get into it. And hopefully we'll get some scaleless head babies. And I'm actually tempted to cut these a little bit. You can cut little V's and kind of peel it back and take a look. And I think on this clutch I'm going to do that. Alright guys, so check this out. I cut the first egg, and it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, but, ooh, getting a little too close here. It looks like that's a scaleless head to me, scaleless head normal, which is, hopefully it's a female. Okay, so I opened up the second one. I'm getting curious now, and this looks like, it doesn't look like it's a scaleless head. It does look like a spider, and it looks like a really light spider. So, I think that might be a jungle Woma spider. Okay, now that I cut the first 2 eggs, I really want to go back and cut the rest, so I'm going to do that here real quick and see what's in these little guys. Okay, I'm back onto the first clutch, and isn't that guy adorable? That's a little baby coral glow. So cute. Welcome to the world, little guy. That's awesome. So here's another one, fresh out of the egg. So you can see it's a little bit yellower, and the pattern's jumbled up. So that is definitely a pastel. So here's another one, and it looks like this guy's another, just a coral glow. And actually, on some of these we could get pastel coral glows. So here are my 2 little coral glows, and sometimes the only way to really tell them apart is to kind of look at them side by side. So this one has more of a repeating pattern to it, and this one's maybe a little broken up. So this could be a pastel coral glow, but sometimes it's hard to tell until they shed for the first time. What I find amazing on these eggs, looks like this one has a little slit, so I'm going to cut it too. But, I mean, they look all shriveled up, and I don't know if you can see that good on the camera, but they look moldy, and, you know, these eggs hatched like 4 days late, and I thought there's no way they're going to hatch. They're all moldy, and, you know, I'm not used to hatching snake eggs. These are the first ones ever, so I thought for sure that these weren't going to hatch, but they surprised me. Okay, so this one, I couldn't believe how dry the shell was. It was almost too dry for him to get out, so I'm kind of glad I'm cutting these. And this one looks like a normal to me, and I actually kind of cut a little bit more and flipped them over, kind of upside down, and I don't know if you can see that, but normally there's tracks on the belly for a het pied, and this one doesn't even look het pied, so I think this is just a plain old normal. So this last one didn't have any slits in it, but I decided to cut it anyway, just to kind of see what was inside. And it looks like there's a coral glow in there. I don't know if you can, I don't want to open it too much. It looks a little not as mature as the other ones. And you really have to watch when you're cutting these. You don't want to cut them too early, or you can actually damage the snake. But you also don't want to let them go too far where they can't get out of the shell. So that one just looks like a regular coral glow. So we did pretty good here, actually. So it looks like we have 1 pastel, 3 coral glows, and a normal. Alright, I put that other box back in the incubator so they can mature a little bit, and I pulled this one out. So these eggs were actually, oh, look at that. They were originally stuck together, but I guess now that they're at the end of the incubation, they're coming apart pretty easy. So I'm going to separate these and cut them and see what we have. Okay, this one looks to me just like a regular coral glow. There's a lot of liquid in this one. It's really bubbly. Now this one, if you would have asked me a couple days ago, that looks like a bad egg to me. It's amazing that they can look so bad and still hatch. Okay guys, this one's looking pretty normal to me. I think it's a normal. Okay, for this one, it's either a pastel pinstripe or a pinstripe. And I'm kind of leaning towards just a regular pinstripe, but it's kind of hard to tell. Maybe a pastel pinstripe. So I find that cutting eggs is kind of a nasty business here because it's full of blood vessels and slime and whatnot. I really want to get these out, but they're not quite ready yet. But this one to me looks like a really nice pastel. So here's another one. It just looks like another pastel to me. So it looks like we have 2 pastels, normal, coral glow. It's hard to tell if there's a pastel in the coral glow. And then this one, I'm pretty. To me, it almost looks like a lemon blast, a pastel pinstripe. I think it is. So that's pretty good. Not too bad. So I can't wait for them to come out of the egg, and then I can show you a little better what they look like. So I decided to go back and see if I can cut the last couple eggs in here, which we didn't cut. I found that this guy crawled out already. I guess if you cut them open, they crawl out. But this egg right here is the one I want to check it out. And this was the scaleless head crossed with the jungle woman spider. You know, I may as well just cut this one. There's no way they're gonna have anything in it, but I'm just curious. Okay, so this one, it's kind of hard to see in there, but I looked at the head, and it doesn't look like it's a scaleless head. But there's some low expression scaleless heads that are hard to tell. But based on how light the color is compared to the other normals, if I was a betting man, I'd say this is a jungle woma, possibly scaleless head. I'd have to check the vent scales for scaleless head, but it looks like it's not a scaleless head, maybe just a jungle woma. So this last one, I opened it up and it's didn't develop at all. It's definitely a bad egg, so I'm just going to throw that one out. So what I'll do is I'll leave these eggs in the incubator. Actually, I could leave them in there for about 7 days and leave all the baby snakes together. And then after 7 days they shed, and then I can start loading up my baby rack with the baby snakes. So one more thing before we go. Lucy peed in her enclosure, so it's always a challenge. I want to try to get her down in this tub down here. So let's see how that goes. Alright, wish me luck, guys. See what kind of mood she's in today. Alright, buddy. Not time to eat. Not time to eat. Alright, buddy. Alright. I need to snap her out of feeding mode, kind of get her into handling mode here. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that's where you want to go. I don't know how much she weighs. It's a lot. Alright, girl. We want you in the tub. She doesn't want to go in. Whew.